okay, guys, there's no hurry. You don't have to run. I don't think you're supposed to go that way. Although there's nobody leading you.
Taxi's trying to get through here. Oh, look at him. This one looks, he looks a little ornery.
He looks a little fat.
He's got horns too.
Jesus.
There's nowhere for them to go there now. There's more of them coming.
Oh my God.
It's Bondzee Live. Trippin With Bondzee on YouTube. How the hell are you? It's Bondzee. It's Bondzee Live, Trippin With Bondzee on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. We're live from San Juan del Sur. We're at a place called Palermo. I'm not going to give you the exact address. Don't be nosy. But listen, I'm blessed to be here. This is the home of sweet, sweet Angie and Colin the Man. I am blessed to have friends like this. I'm super excited. It's episode 236. We are live, San Juan del Sur. The weather's beautiful tonight. I'm outside. The wind's died down. The temperature's perfect right now. Feeling fine and not drinking the wine, actually. We're at episode 236. Make sure you go to subscribe to the madness. That is Bondzee Live, Trippin With Bondzee. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, all those stupid things. And let's get right to the sponsors before I tell you who's coming on to the show tonight. Listen, folks, I am blessed to, they are the longest sponsor I've ever had. I love this place to death. It's my favorite restaurant in the world. It's called Shakespeare's Fine Dining, and you can find it in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And guess what? If all the celebrities and the hockey players and the baseball players that come here, they make their way to Hamilton to go to Shakespeare's Fine Dining, and you should too, because it's that goddamn good. Please, please, for the love of God, though, make a reservation. 905-528-0689. This is like, it's like the one of the, call it the best. Picture you're in New York City and you're at the finest steakhouse. Well, guess what? This is like the best steakhouse of the New York City, but it's in Hamilton, and it's called Shakespeare's Fine Dining. Go to www.shakespeares.ca, make a rezo, or call the number I already told you about. That's it. That's all. I love them so much. Also, the show is brought to you by my boys' clothing company. You got to go to www.don'ttripyourfine, or go to his Instagram, go to his Facebook. The kid's got amazing clothing. You can get toques, hats, hoodies, t-shirts, stickers, the whole 9 yards. These colors, every time I wear one of these goddamn hoodies to a party, especially the blue and the pink, they get taken. And it's not that they get stolen. People just love it so much, and I'm just so loving. They ask for it, and I give it to them. And then Brad's got to make me a new one. Just go check him out, folks. He's online on Instagram. It's called Don't Trip Your Fine. It's his new clothing company. Stoney says, video seems fuzzy. Am I still fuzzy right now? Anybody? Bueller? I hope I'm not fuzzy, because, listen, folks, we got a great show lined up for you tonight. We got the bass player from the goddamn Gloriious Sons. Yep, I said it. They're the new... Not even new anymore. The biggest, hottest band in Canada, hands down, for rock and roll. I dare you to name me a better band. Okay, maybe Darling Congress, but they're just getting started. It's his also Peter's side project. And now that he's playing bass for the Gloriious Sons, I got so many questions for this guy. Can't wait to have him on. We already tested out the connection, so we're not going to have any of that nonsense and problems coming up on the show. And also, don't forget, we got some great guests coming up on the show as well. As mentioned last week, I finally landed my dream interview. Well, my dream interview would have been Gord, obviously, but you get the next second best when you get Paul Langlois of the Tragically Hip coming on your show, confirmed. He's on holiday right now, but he actually went through the trouble to let me know he is 100% committed to coming on the show. We're going to line up a date within the next, it could be as early as next week, We'll see. But stand by. He's coming on. And also, we got my boy Guillaume Brodeur from that hit TV show Yukon Gold. I cannot wait to talk to this guy. He literally, to this day, because of that show, cannot go to places in across the other side of the world, in Asia and stuff, because that show took off there. And he is like what you would like a Justin Bieber is to Canada, if you will. Don't you just love that? What would you call that? The example, if you will. All right. We did the sponsors. Listen, before I get to Buddy, he's coming up in about 8 minutes or so. We are on a strict schedule down here in the San Juan del Sur. I'm having the absolute best time. And speaking of San Juan del Sur and Nicaragua in general, folks, the biggest story down here right now, and it's all over social media and everything, is this guy right here who went on an absolute tear the other night. Yes, Nicaragua lost to, it was Dominican Republic, and Dominican Republic is absolutely stacked. But the story about this kid, Duque Hubert, okay? So he goes out to the mound. He's the closer. He's an amazing pitcher. They're down 6-1, and he's got to face the three best batters on Dominican Republic. Has 1, 2, 3 coming up. And it's on the biggest stage he's ever been in his life. Well, he walked out there. He said he was absolutely terrified. But he said, you know what? I wasn't scared because baseball is meant to be fun. And I wanted to go out there and have fun on the biggest stage of my life, which it really was. And all his family was watching back here in Nicaragua. It was a huge day. Everybody was watching at all the bars. It was super awesome. Well, doesn't the dude who, and these guys, you got to understand, the first three batters he faced make 300, I think it was, I have the number here somewhere, $700 million combined in the major leagues, okay? They are sluggers. Between the three of them, they have 5 Silver Slugger awards. And this kid from Nicaragua, this handsome fella right here, goes out onto the mound, terrified as shit, but not that scared, because he said, this is my time. And guess what he did? He struck out the first 2 batters and absolutely dusted them. I actually have a bit of video here. I'd love to share this with you because I just think this is worth sharing. It's in Spanish. We don't really need to listen to it, but just watch how this guy absolutely annihilates these Major League Baseball players. It's pretty impressive.
Nietos, bisnietos, a todos mandé a sentar con chocolatito venenoso, medicina pinolera a Juan Soto. Techo, tremendo futuro. El envío a Bonica la canica y también le receta vitamina K. Wow.
A ver, este es un jovencito Everett que nunca ha pichado tampoco profesional.
Más que en la Liga Pro de Nicaragua, pero fuera de Nicaragua.
Pero fuera de Nicaragua, pero a ver, acaba de ponchar a Soto y a Julio Rodríguez.
Devers abanica la canica y siéntate. Pura medicinita pinolera, cortesía de Everett. El Duque Everett es el lanzador, lo vemos en los numeritos con tren del norte.
Absolutely amazing time. And guess what? He walks off the field. They did lose 6-1, but 4 batters, 3 strikeouts, not a big deal, and gives up a double. Brand new contract. How do you like me now? The Detroit Tigers, one of their scouts was there, made his way down to the dressing room as Buddy finishes his inning. They lose. He gets a brand new contract. Can you, the excitement here, folks, in Nicaragua, because this guy just hit the jackpot, and his family, I wish I was in the same town as his family, because they must be going absolutely insane. Buddy shows up, pitches the game of his life. And then he was asked after the game, he's like, how are you so calm and cool facing 3-4 batters that are some of the best players in Major League Baseball? And he simply said this, as I already said, he goes, baseball's supposed to be fun. I just went out there and had fun. It's not supposed to be serious. Kid went out there and pitched the night of his life and now has a Major League Baseball contract and will be a new starter for the the Mississippi Mud, no, not the Mississippi Mud Hens, but the Mud Hens, which is the Oh, I think it's the Ohio Mud Hens, which is the farm team for the Detroit Tigers. So good on this kid from Nicaragua. It's been a massive celebration down here, and good on the kid. Not the best stats in the world, to be honest with you. I mean, I'll throw it up there, but, strikeouts to walks, 24-17 this past year. An ERA of 4.71. It's a touch high. But listen, in the grand scheme of things, this champion right here went out, pitched the game of his life, struck out the 4 best players, and now he's in the big leagues or in the minor leagues to make his way to the big leagues, and his family is going to reap the rewards. Super awesome story, and I had to share that here because I love this country. I'm so proud of the people, and what I'm really proud of is that they don't cater to the North American bullshit down here. Listen, folks, it ain't like Toronto or New York or Miami where you go to the bar and you get a drink in 2 seconds. Toot sweet. Or you get your meal and if it ain't out in 20 minutes because you're on a tight schedule with your prippy little life and lifestyle. Listen, down here's tranquilo. Everybody chills out. Nobody's in a rush. And be damned if these Nicaraguan people are going to let you come into their country and try and change it, which a lot of people have in the past couple of years because of the pandemic. And yeah, I'll call you out. All these Canadian and American families that come down here and think you should get served toot sweet and have everything like it should be in Toronto. You came here for a reason, because you didn't like your country and you wanted to come down here and get away from all the madness and nonsense. Well, guess what? You ain't bringing the madness and the nonsense down here because they roll on a different lifestyle in a different way in Nicaragua, and God bless them for sticking to their things. Now, as a business owner and stuff down here, yeah, we always wanted things to happen toot sweet, get the people served as fast as you can. But be damned if you're going to change the Nicaraguan people, and God bless them. And I'm so happy for this guy who has, he just shone like his bright star. He had one chance on his biggest stage, and guess what? He went out and he conquered and kicked ass. Speaking of kicking ass, my guest is here. I won't leave him hanging in the green room any longer because I just want to get right to this. I've got so many questions, and because listen, we'll just get right to it, please, without any further ado. Please welcome Peter Van Helvoort to the show. Bass player of the Gloriious Sons, also lead singer of your band, your new band, Darling Congress. Yeah. Thanks for taking the time to join me, man, as a double rock star in 2 bands, if you will. Your life must be pretty busy, yeah?
Yeah, there's a third band too. It was my band that I met, the Gloriious Sons, and Teenage Kicks, and we just kind of started playing shows again in January. So
right, which we will definitely get to, and I wasn't sure where to go with the band Teenage Kicks because I know it was a big part of your career and the beginning of your music career, and then all of a sudden it came to an abrupt end, which I don't want to skip too far forward because we're going to get into that. But listen, it's pretty awesome to have you on the show. I'm a huge fan of the Gloriious Sons. And, there's a big story to how you joined the band and stuff. And I just want to jump right into it. How often do you guys, now that you're with the Gloriious Sons, do you get together on a weekly basis, or is it a weekend thing? How do you guys roll?
Yeah, so I'm the only one that's not in Kingston. So it depends on what we have coming up. We're about to start kind of like rehearsing and stuff, just to get songs for the new record ready.
Right.
But yeah, it varies, honestly. It depends on what we have coming up. From between Christmas and now, we've only seen each other like a handful of times.
Yeah.
But we talk.
Well, and we'll get into that too, Peter. Those Christmas shows that you guys did, my God, at Maxwell's in Kitchener and then Kingston, must be pretty special. But I got to jump back for a second. You just mentioned you're not in Kingston. You were born and raised in Hamilton. Is that where you are now?
I was born and raised in Acton.
Oh, Acton. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So Hamilton is where I am right now.
Okay.
Where my wife and I live. I've been here for about 5 years. And before that, I was in Toronto. And then Guelph, and then Acton is where I grew up.
So Hamilton and stuff, acting, you're born and raised there, and then you get into music. How did music start for you? Was it a part of the family, or are you the only one? And what instrument did you start with? Because I know you play many.
Right. Yeah. So my dad sings, not professionally, but he's quite a good singer. So he sings and plays acoustic, and so that was kind of how I got into it. When I was, 12 or 13 or something like that, like started kind of playing around. My brother also plays. He was in Teenage Kicks and he has his own band. My mom is not musical and my dad still plays, but he's like, he's never written a song or written a lyric. He's just likes to play other people's songs.
Yeah, cool. So did you start with the guitar and,
Oh,
and move into the bass, or?
yeah, so I started with the guitar, and I've primarily played guitar most of my like musical career. Bass was something I kind of played out of necessity if I was recording a demo or something, and I just kind of learned how to play the bass just through that,
Yeah.
by needing to put it down on a track and gradually kind of getting better.
You were self-taught in a lot of ways, not just instruments, but you also taught yourself to record at a young age and do everything. As a musician, you all know it's a tough gig to get into and make money at. So, when you start out, money's tight, right? So
Mhm.
you actually taught yourself to do record and produce and do we're just self-taught. I mean, back then there wasn't the YouTube videos and instructions. How did you learn?
Yeah, just trial and error. I mean, I had my first recording stuff when I was probably like 15 or 16 or something like that, and I was from Acton, so there wasn't really a musical
Not the
scene.
biggest music mecca
Yeah,
town in the
yeah.
world,
Like, and
but not too far from Hamilton, which, where you grew up just outside of. But Hamilton had an amazing history of music and stuff
Mhm.
with bands like Junk House and all these cool venues for like Hamilton really was sort of I guess a sister venue to Kingston, if you will, in a sense. And you started this band, Teenage Kicks. How old were you when that's all started and kicked off?
I guess I probably was 23 or 24, something like that. Yeah, probably about that. Yeah,
Um, I got asked too with the band Teenage Kicks. It sort of ended when you were about 30 years old, and so you'd been in about 7, 8 years by what you just told me. And then through my research and just trying to find out more about you the past couple days, I found out that you really struggled with mental illness, and you didn't even really know it until the band broke up and you were sort of all alone. And and listen, I've been there, so I know what that's all about, but it really sort of changed you in a way, didn't it?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I definitely I suffer from pretty serious depression that I think I had not necessarily a better grasp on, but I was just so busy all the time in Teenage Kicks that I could kind of just push it off. Yeah, and it was definitely a bit of a reckoning once the band was gone as to like the reality of my
Life.
situation mentally and emotionally. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you do, Peter, if I may ask, to help combat those that depression and those demons? And how did you get better? Because you obviously succeeded, and we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah, well, not a whole lot until like halfway through COVID. I just kind of like never really dealt with it, and then I finally, I kind of got not forced is not the right word, but my brother and my wife like pushed me pretty hard, and I ignored it for a while, and it just got to a point where it was like too bad to not do something about. So I went and spoke to someone, and I've been on like medication for it for I guess I don't know 3 years, and it's not it's not normal. I'm not like I'm not the happiest person in the world, but it's manageable. It wasn't manageable for a while. So
Did that so and I have to it must come in hand. You are an amazing songwriter, Peter.
yeah.
Um you are like almost world renowned, if you will. And I know you're very humble and quiet about it. So and you really did sort of sneak through the cracks of a songwriter growing up through the years. And then all of a sudden You find yourself in, I think it was 2019, you're working as a phone, what do you call it, call operator, if you will, and you get a phone call from Brett and Jay that literally helped change and save your life ultimately, if you will, right?
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, I was working at Shopify as just like tech support, and I had just taken like mental health leave like a couple days before, and Jay and Brett were on their way to the Rolling Stones show at Burroughs Creek, and they asked if I wanted to come and guitar tech for them, and I hadn't toured with anyone in a while, probably a couple of years. I hadn't played any shows and even longer, so it was very it was just wild timing.
The songwriting, did it help you, Peter, get through the demons that you were dealing with your mental illness and stuff? And you really are a prolific songwriter to this day. And was that sort of your medicine to help deal with that demons?
Not really at that time. I mean, I started writing. I didn't write for a while. Most of the time that I worked at Shopify, I just pretty much didn't write songs. And then when I went on tour with the Sons that summer, so the summer of 2019, where they were opening up for the Struts, and just being around Brett, I just kind of started writing songs more. I would wake up and just kind of strum around and stuff, and I don't know that I necessarily felt like I was like dealing with my like depression or my sadness in that way, but I find that when I feel better, it's easier for me to write songs. When I'm feeling like that kind of like sense of like dread and despair, it's very difficult to write for me.
Yeah.
But I also don't write songs when I'm like happy. So it's like a weird little like middle ground of like it's almost like being like functionally depressed. Like I still have like lows no matter what I do, but that I still can function as like as a regular, like
Yeah, human.
yeah.
Well, listen, your writing has not gone unnoticed, and in my research, I have read a great quote from a writer today who said, "You literally snuck through the cracks your whole life of, as a being a famous musician, but your writing skills really didn't go unnoticed." Where did that come from? Just the writing itself, and because of your struggles, and you can't write when you're dealing with your demons. Would you lock yourself away in a room? Would you, or did it just, you always have a pen and a paper with you, and just when lyrics come to you, you write them down? How did it go?
Yeah, I do. I definitely like jot things down as they come to me. Usually when I do sit down to write a song, I can see a song through. So like I feel like I was fairly prolific for a period of time. In the last like 5 years, I probably haven't written more than 20 songs, but I'll like put the time into like finishing them and making sure that I think that they're, that they're good enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I kind of sit down with a guitar and I kind of put everything as just like melody over pretty simple chords, and then kind of through like a war of attrition, I just like break the song down over and over and over again until I start kind of adding in things that are more intricate, or pulling certain things back, or like I usually write the lyrics while I write the melodies. Yeah, it's just like it's kind of like a fairly long process from the beginning until when I actually get to the end of like feeling like it's a finished song.
Yeah.
But to the average person, I think that whole middle period is probably not that like shocking, like the difference between it. But I'm very, very like detail oriented, so I'm just really concentrating on all the like small things that most people probably don't pay attention to.
Yeah. And Brett helped you with that a lot too, to sort of get through it, and we'll get to that later. But I've got to ask, so let's jump into the Gloriious Sons.
Mhm.
You get the phone call from Brett and Jay one day whilst you're working as this call operator, and well, like, how did the conversation go? What did they say? Because it literally has changed your entire life since that
Mhm.
day in 2019, right, Peter?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, well, they told me that their guitar tech was sick. That's Jesse, who I didn't know at the time, but Jesse had, I believe, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and so he had found out only days before the Rolling Stones show. So I did that whole summer with them, and I've done a
As
lot
a
of
guitar tech.
as a guitar tech, and I've done a
Yeah,
lot of like live sound, and I've done a little bit of teching, but I'd never really done that. And just having had been in a band for so long, especially as a band leader and a primary songwriter, I did have a bit of a chip on my shoulder about
for
working
sure.
for a band. But the first show that I ever worked for them was Ottawa Blues Fest, and they were headlining, and it was just like it was like one of those things where you just realize that is like bigger than you or whatever,
Yeah.
like whatever chip you have on your shoulder or whatever feelings you have about what you should be doing. So it became pretty easy for me to kind of like fall into just like trying to be a good guitar tech and try to make the live business better and make everyone's gear more reliable and then I started peppering in like my thoughts about certain small things that I thought would help
Help.
the live show or would make certain aspects like shine more, sound tighter, and but it was still fairly on the outside. I definitely tried not to interfere too much in that initial period of time.
Right. And then so all of a sudden you do this for a year and a bit with the band, and then tragedy strikes. And I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up, but
Mhm.
everybody knows as a fan of the Glorious Sons, the tragedy struck the bass player, Chris how do you say his last, Howitt or
Uh,
Hewitt?
yeah, Hewitt. Yeah.
Hewitt, better known as Black Mamba. We just everybody calls him Mamba. Um, his brother suddenly dies, his younger brother, and it really was because the band's so close and tight knit. It really affected everybody. But
Mhm.
Mamba ultimately ended up leaving the band. I guess for good, right? So what happens? I mean, you're the guitar tech on the road, and then the next thing I know, I see you on stage as the replacement bass player. That must have been how did that whole thing go down?
Yeah, we basically it was like right in between the U.S. leg and the Canadian leg of the War on Everything tour, and they did a show in Royal Oak, and we were driving overnight from Royal Oak to Mississauga to basically drop off the stuff that we had on the U.S. run because it was like not as it's basically a different lighting package than what we would have on the bigger Canadian shows.
Right.
And I woke up in the morning at 7 a.m. or something like that, and Chris was awake, which was unusual because the guys in the band aren't usually up that early.
Yeah.
And yeah, he said that his brother had passed away, and basically,
Tragic.
yeah, it was pretty crazy. And so then we got back home to Hamilton. It was me and Gavin, the band's like old photographer. He was going to stay with us for a couple of days until we were supposed to go to Vancouver at the end of the week. And then I got a call from Jay and then from Ian, the band's manager, and they asked if I could fill in on bass. So I basically learned like 25 or like 27 songs in like 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
I did like 5 shows, and then Chris was supposed to come back for the Junos, but
Okay.
then we didn't get that far because because of COVID.
Yeah.
So and then yeah.
Which is devastating in itself, and we're gonna get into that whole thing in a minute, and COVID and music and how it actually helped you and formed, Darling Congress, and we're gonna touch on that. But I gotta at least ask a couple more questions. When you first found out that you're gonna be the new bass player for the Glorious Sons, all of a sudden on this unfinished tour before COVID, you must have been like just the phone call. Okay, so you get the phone call. Just walk me through and the fans, because you guys are like, and the Glorious Sons, when this happened, you guys were up and running, and the new biggest best rock band in Canada. And then all of a sudden, Peter, the guitar tech, who didn't really want to even be there, and he was a call center guy, even like a year previous. Now you're the goddamn bass player all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Do you freak out? Did you lock yourself in a room and learn those 25 songs? What happened?
I definitely locked myself in a room. I mean, it was a solid 12 hours a day of because it wasn't just like learning the songs. It was also rehearsing them. And just because I'm not I feel like now I'm a bass player, but I was like someone who also could play the bass, and my music theory knowledge isn't that great. So like I was learning the songs like note for note. The one benefit I had was I've done all of the mixes that are in like the band's like fan club app, like all the live stuff. I do that like whenever we're on the road. So I had versions of the songs live that I could at least like solo the bass. And then also I was familiar with how all the songs are different live than they are on record, right?
Right.
So I had some advantage in that respect. But yeah, it was crazy. I mean, the crazier part is like it wasn't even a year. It was 9 months. I started working for the band in July 2019, and I was playing bass for them in January.
Do you remember
end of February?
That's insane. Peter, do you remember the first show and where you were and when you got on stage? Were you fucking terrified or what?
Yeah, oh yeah, I was scared for sure. I don't think
Where was it?
It was the PNE in Vancouver, and I don't think I moved like one step the whole show. The thing is that like the longest ever Teenage Kick show was probably 55 minutes long, and that first show with the Sons was over 2 hours, I think.
Wow.
So I'd never even been on stage that long before. Like that, yeah. So that was kind of a bit of a shock. And the other thing is I think we took maybe a 10-minute sound check that day. Like, so I literally I learned the songs, but I didn't play them with the band. Yeah, it was honestly quite
couple joints before we go out,
no
drinks to calm the nerve, or how does that work?
I barely drink, and I haven't smoked weed since I was like 16. So
shit. So you just went out there, au naturel, and was like, "Dear Lord, please let me play the best tonight I can play."
Yeah. So.
So I gotta ask, but it was amazing. I saw you the first time I saw you with the band was at the Kita Bala this summer, which was I don't know how many shows you played between that original show in Vancouver till then, but you definitely looked more comfortable for sure than what you just described, where you said you never even moved a muscle. And you're playing for a band that is. Brett is a character. One of the greatest leading frontmans ever in a band. He just knows how to captivate. He's almost like Ala Gord, he just took over, and not even on purpose. They're so different, yet they're so similar, if you will. And then you got the keyboard player Josh, who goes off like he's animal on the keyboards, and you're playing with all these guys at Chris Coster, who's so amazing. You must have been terrified. How long did it really take you to feel like you fit in and where you were able to move around and sort of jive with the band, Peter?
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like the first two shows that I played, because like when I played with them on the War and Everything tour, I was just filling in for Chris. Chris was supposed to come back, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't officially play with them as someone who was filling in with the band until we played in Sarnia and Timmins, which was like our first shows back after COVID. And I felt pretty okay at those shows. And then I kind of almost had like a regression where I for like 3 or 4 months or 5 months, I felt like kind of uncomfortable on stage. And then I think it was probably in just after those April shows when we did like Southern Ontario last year, and we were kind of bigger venues and stuff. I still wasn't really like comfortable, because the other thing to consider is we play a lot of songs, right? So it's like I know probably 55 Gloriious Sons songs.
Okay.
So, and the set list is different every night. So it would get to a point where I would there were certain songs where I was like super comfortable, and then other songs would get thrown in and I'd be less comfortable. Now I'm at the point where I feel pretty much like good to go. There was a period of time where I have like this thing called an Apollo twin, which is just like an interface.
Yeah.
And I would literally run through the entire set before we would play the show. And I did that for a long time. And I've finally gotten to the point where I don't have to do that anymore. I feel like confident enough that, I can, if there's a song I'm like worried about, I'll just play it quickly before we go on stage. But I'm in a much better place. Like Brett could give me a set list 30 seconds before we go on stage and I'll be okay.
Wow.
But it's
good
pretty
for you, man. And that's got to take work and determination and I know you've got such a love for music, and and I'd be remiss if I didn't ask this, and somebody watching also wanted to know, are you, the question is, you've been writing new material and stuff, but the second part is the most important. Are you now a permanent member of the band with Gloriious Sons? Has that been a conversation that's been had, or? Because I don't even know. I'm a huge fan. I've seen you guys a bunch of times, and I know so many of your huge fans that have been there from the get-go. What's the answer to that, Peter? Are you a permanent member of the band?
I do not know. I mean, I don't think that I'm, knock on wood, but I don't think I'm going to get replaced anytime soon or anything like that. But we never really talked about it. It feels like we're a band. I don't feel like I'm,
an outsider or anything like that.
We all have a call together every week, and I feel like I'm in the band, but we've never had that conversation. They take care of me, and I don't feel on the outside by any means. I definitely don't. I think as soon as I I originally when I pitched to them that I wanted to join the band, it was kind of like, okay, well, you're going to play the bass and that's all you're going to do. We're going to pay you when we play shows and when we rehearse. And then when we got to the point where we started, where they were going to make a record, Brett asked me to come and play the bass. And since that happened, that was last year, I feel like I'm in the band, but I just don't, we don't have formal discussions about it. I mean, we just did photos. I'm in the photos, so I guess that means something, I think.
And Lisa Holgate says you're totally awesome, Peter. The Gloriious Sons is my fave band, and love that you're a part of it. And I do too. I mean, listen, it's really sad how it had to end for Mamba, and we all loved him for sure. Is it permanently? Was there ever talk that is he done and just is done with music forever, or is there a chance he'll come back, or is that just something that you really don't talk about because it's just sort of awkward and they're just loving you right now and they're just rolling with how it's going?
Yeah, I mean, not super my place to say, but I don't think that Chris is going to be back. But
come back, okay.
Not, like I said, not really my place to say.
Fair enough. And I'm sorry to ask. I know it's sort
of,
but as fans, everybody wants to know, and I thank you for being so honest and open about it. But listen, I mean, I've watched you even from those Gloriious Sons shows at Kitabala, and then at the shows that you guys did at Maxwell's in Kitchener, where I had the pleasure to meet you. I think it was the first night. Yeah. Listen, I was feeling pretty fine, and in this photo, and it looks like you had a bit of Christmas cheer too. That was right before Christmas. Pretty awesome shows there, eh?
No, yeah, that was a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah,
getting to play the smaller venues like that is definitely cool.
Yeah, and a testament to you guys and the band and how much everybody loves you. I tried to get to Kingston for those shows right before Christmas, and then you had that massive snowstorm up there, well, all across sort of southern Ontario, and it was madness. And listen, people still came out to the show, and it was amazing, and that's got to feel pretty special, eh, Peter, to be a part of.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, we added that extra show because we wanted to give people the opportunity to not have to drive in the storm. And
right.
And even though we did that, I think only 100 people didn't show up to that second show, and then Brett got sick anyways, and we had to cancel the like.
Yeah, he did. He got COVID or
But
whatever. So
yeah, it was kind of crazy. Like we thought it was going to be like we were going to play the show to like 100 people or something like that. I actually think more people showed up to the VIP on the second night than on the first night.
yeah, that's pretty amazing. Listen, I had the best time, and that VIP show you guys put on the acoustics before the show, and then getting to meet you. You're super cool that night and very accommodating. I thank you for that. And listen, let's talk more about Brett and your relationship, because you started as the guitar tech, now you're the bass player, but in between all of that, and while it's on the road as the guitar tech, you and Brett sort of formed this bond and relationship, and what came out of that is your brand new band called Darling Congress, which is pretty cool, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Take me through the whole story of how this happened, because I did my research, I know all about it, but I'd love to hear how it all sort of formed and started whilst you're on the road as a guitar tech for Gloriious Sons.
Yeah, I was basically writing songs on the bus, and I would kind of I would show songs to Brett periodically, and we made plans to record something in April of 2020. So like right after the War and Everything tour was supposed to finish.
Yeah.
And it was, I think, kind of going to be more of like an acoustic thing. That was the idea. And then COVID happened, and Brett was living in Hamilton. He was living with the Dirty Nil, and he moved out of here in, I think, May of 2020 and moved back to Kingston. And so
yeah, because he was dating the one of the girls from the band The Beaches, and Dirty Nil, great band out of Hamilton, and my childhood buddy who I went to high school with, is a funny quick story, Peter, is, and he was the drummer for the band that I was the lead singer of in high school. We were called Squealer. I didn't sound like I wasn't a squealer. Anyways, funny name. But anyways, he is now the manager of that band, Dirty Nil, a great band out of Hamilton. So
cool.
I'd throw that in there. Yeah. Small world.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, well, basically, like Brett moved to Kingston. I was here in Hamilton. It was COVID. I couldn't do anything. So I just started like learning how to like finger pick. I could do it a little bit, but like I just started doing it like 4 or 5 hours a day, and really concentrating on like learning a bit more about songwriting theory and just kind of taking my.
And Brett really pushed you, didn't he? And he was pretty. I hate to use the word forceful, but he was. He sort of brought you back to reality and was like, Peter, listen, you're a super talented, awesome dude, and he stepped up and helped you, and then all of a sudden, what went from a solo project, if I'm right, it went to a band that's now called Darling Congress.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, like without Brett, that it wouldn't exist for sure. So he definitely like pushed me in all the right ways to make it come to fruition.
It's pretty awesome, eh? How a phone call, Peter, turns into you're working at a call center and you were this awesome musician, but you were just sort of lost in translation, if you will, or just lost in everything. You were pissed off that the Teenage Kicks didn't work out, and then all of a sudden a phone call changes everything, and you go from, like I said, a guitar tech to the bass player for the Gloriious Sons, and now you're the lead singer of Darling Congress, which I gotta admit, I love the songs. There's this song called Your Dog Don't Like You. Peter, I gotta say the video for that is absolutely awesome. Whoever did it, it was brilliant. And it's funny because there's a part in the video where you're riding a tandem bicycle and you're all alone and you're riding around town looking for your dog who doesn't like you, apparently. And I for some reason, when I saw that bike and you stop at various places and put the bike down, I was like, that fucking bike's going to get stolen. And sure as shit, the bike got stolen in the video. And then the video does end on a good note. It's a great song. And you saw this, I believe you saw this name. The title comes from a sign you saw whilst on the road with the Gloriious Sons down in the States somewhere, right?
Oh, your dog don't like you?
Yeah, your dog don't like you.
It's about my brother. He had adopted this dog from Russia, and it was just like barking at him all the time. And so like, there's a song by Glenn Campbell called Wichita Lineman, which is like, I use it as a basis of a lot of my lyrics, where the first line is just like something that is like kind of a non sequitur, and then I use that to get into the actual like bones of the song. So like Your Dog Don't Like You is kind of just like, it's kind of a nothing line, but it's funny, everyone latches onto that. But that was like just a line, and then the rest of the song is like a conversation with my brother and trying to like remedy our relationship. But
I love the video, and I'm gonna play the end of it here because I just find this so funny. I'm gonna try and line this up here. I just got to hit one certain button, and then Darling Congress, right there. The end of this song and the video, it just captivates my heart. And I mean, you walk up, and he's just right there waiting for you. It was just so heartwarming. Is that your brother's actual dog, or what happens there?
That's my dog.
Is it your dog? Okay, I was wondering how that went, but such a good boy, just sitting there for that video and everything. That must have been totally fun to shoot that video.
Yeah, she's a good dog. And that was our friend Kelly Hogan was the director of that. But yeah,
Grace, I was going to ask that next.
Yeah, Gracie's a good dog. She's very, very smart.
Awesome. So listen, you hook up, you got this band started, Darling Congress. I got to ask where the name. It's unique, it's interesting. Darling Congress. Well, where does it come from?
I think I was going to call it Rough Congress, which didn't really mean anything, but I liked the way it sounded. And then there was already a band, not really active anymore, but I wanted a name that, like, Teenage Kicks was a name that it's like a famous song. So, and there was a band from Toronto called Teenage Kicks forever ago that I didn't realize when we named the band, and a band from Texas that I didn't realize. So I was trying to find a name that, I didn't have to share with anyone. And so just Darling Congress, I liked the way it sounded. And then I kind of started thinking about it more. And, Darling was like kind of like, it was like a beloved. And then Congress was like a gathering of people. So I thought it worked out well with the fact that, something that started as a solo record ended up being much more of like a group effort.
It sure did. Sorry, I'm outside in Nicaragua right now in San Juan del Sur, and a praying mantis just climbed onto my light that's up above me that makes me look pretty and lights me up nice. And I'm just watching this praying mantis absolutely destroy a bunch of bugs. So listen, man, I love the name. I love the name. I love the band. I listened to a bunch of songs over the past little while, and I've been a fan of you. And I'm super happy that you got to join the band. And how your whole story worked out. It's a pretty cool story, Peter, to be honest with you. You were down and out as this call center dude, and Jay and Brett call you all of a sudden, and now you're off to the races. And you're in two rock bands. And one of them is the biggest in Canada, hands down, is a rock band. There's no debating it. Brett, Coster, the guys are just Jay. Those guys are absolute rock stars, and you're up on stage with them each and every night, and it's got to be a pretty awesome feeling, eh, buddy?
Absolutely, yeah. No, I feel very, very lucky that I've gotten this opportunity.
It's funny how it all works out sometimes, eh? Life works in funny ways. Listen, I can't thank you enough for doing this. I was really looking forward to talking to you. It was a pleasure to meet you back in the day at Christmas there when, we were both, looks like you had a bit of Christmas cheer too, and I certainly did. And amazing shows. I can't wait to see you guys this summer. You definitely got a couple of shows lined up for summer festivals and stuff with Gloriious Sons. What do we got happening with Darling Congress? Any live shows happening with that?
Nothing with Darling Congress right now. There's some Teenage Kicks shows that are going to get announced. Okay. It'll be busier with Teenage Kicks than Darling Congress, I think.
Okay, yeah. Cool. And that's cool that you hooked back up with Keegan Powell. He was your old guitarist in the band Teenage Kicks, and it's got to be pretty cool to reunite with an old buddy and be back at it when it sort of ended and you were pissed off about it and bummed out.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's like an incredible guitar player. So, it was great to be able to do stuff with him. There's like anyone who wants to check out new music, Keegan's stuff's pretty incredible, especially if you're a guitar player. He's kind of out on his own when it comes to guitar. He's quite good at it.
Amazing. So listen, head note, what's your favorite? Is it, do you like the intimate shows sort of at Maxwell's, where I saw in Kitchener, in the small venue you did in Kingston, your home, not your hometown, but the band's hometown of Gloriious Sons? Or is it cool to get up on stage and play in front of hundreds of thousands of people sort of at big summer festivals? What's your favorite?
I mean, I like it all. I mean, like, obviously the smaller shows reminds me more of like where I came from, but then the bigger shows are cool just because they're all like pinch yourself moments, you know?
Yeah,
Things that
for sure.
you didn't think you'd necessarily get to do. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with it all. No gig is too small, and I suppose no gig is too large.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, it's a pretty good life when you're playing music for a living and making money. Because listen, there's a plethora of shit jobs out here, and
Mhm.
I'm in, a damn near third world country, or developing country, if you will. And it's got to be pretty special to be able to just go out and make music and get paid for it with some pretty cool dudes like Brett and his brother Jay and the rest of the band, Coster and the boys.
Absolutely.
Good on you, Peter. Listen, I can't thank you enough for doing this. It was really special for me, and I look forward to seeing you guys this summer. And Darling Congress, Teenage Kicks, and the Gloriious Sons. It's a pretty busy life you live, mister.
Pretty busy.
Hey, is your wife? Do you even see your wife or what? With three bands?
She's busy too. But yeah, she sees lots of me now, more of me than last year. So
right on.
Yeah.
Well, listen, this has been real special for me. I can't thank you enough. I encourage everybody to go check out all three bands. As mentioned, Teenage Kicks, Darling Congress, and listen, you're kicking it, and I love seeing you. I love seeing you even come out more. I got to say, the show from the Kita Bala show to the shows over Christmas at Maxwell's and at Kingston, because I saw the videos. I love seeing you just interact with the boys, and Brett brings you and includes you in a lot of the songs, and he'll call out your name. I know you do a couple of covers, and there was one time where he just kept chanting Peter and Peter. And
yeah,
dude, you got into it, and it's just fun to see. And it is tragic what happened with Chris leaving the band. We all loved him for sure, but listen, you fitted just fine with the boys, and you belong there. And I hope it all works out for a long future for you, and all the best.
Well, thank you, buddy.
Yeah, take care. Thanks again for doing this. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Right on. Wowee, that was pretty special. As a big music fan, I love the Tragically Hip. I've seen them 49 times live. They're tattooed on my body. And then the Gloriious Sons sort of just rolled in and took over accidentally, if you will. I don't even know if that's the proper way to explain it, but they really did. And the Gloriious Sons and these boys right here, Brett and the rest of the band, his brother, they're a pretty special band. And now all of a sudden, my buddy here, Pete, who I had the chance to meet this past winter at Christmas, now he's a part of the band. What a special treat. Make sure you go follow all three bands, as mentioned, Teenage Kicks, Darling Congress, and Gloriious Sons. Follow them on Instagram. And Pete, it's at Pete VH Music on Instagram. What an amazing interview. So stoked. All right, we got a few minutes left here before I get the hell out of here. I got to brag about Nicaragua a little more. I'm here for about another week or so. I hiked up to the statue of Jesus today. That's what you get in the background. That is the beloved town of San Juan del Sur. It's a wonderful bay. It's such a cool little town. And listen, there's houses like this. Folks, that ain't a hotel. That ain't a resort. That is one dude's house right there. Helicopter pad on the roof, not a big deal. Pool over to the left, surrounded by nothing but ocean and about 1 trillion rooms inside. And then on the flip side of that, you got these beloved workers who really take care of their streets here. They love their country, and they love this town of San Juan del Sur. These guys literally bent over backwards all day long, paintbrush, painting the friggin', what do you call that? I don't even know what the name is for that. But listen, look how far they have to go down, and that's all bent over backwards, hand over fucking ass with a paintbrush, bro. And and a tin of yellow paint. Not what I'm really looking to do. Oh, I meant to show Peter this while he was on. The Glorious Sons are a huge hit down here in San Juan del Sur. Guess what? Thanks to me, I got Bobby, who owned Republica. We used to play it there all the time. And the Glorious Sons are definitely known down here in San Juan del Sur for sure. Listen, it's a pretty special show. I got a couple of videos to show you before I get the hell out of here. This guy, I got to give him credit. This is pretty impressive stuff right here. I did easy for me to say. Back in the day, I loved me some skiing out in I wasn't Whistler. I was in Banff Springs Hotel. I worked there, and we skied at Sunshine and Lake Louise. But I certainly didn't get to pull off anything like this dude did right here. Watch this. That is literally sailing through the sky. My God, I can't even imagine. Again, watch this, folks. The amount of air that this guy gets is absolutely insane. And he pulls off a couple of 360s. Not a big deal. Grabs the board one more time. It just brings me back to the day. I dropped a 30-foot cliff, true story, at Sunshine in front of everybody. I blew one ski on the landing, but still managed to stay upright. But when you drop 30 feet, 3 stories, and land in nothing but powder, just like this guy did, it's a pretty awesome feeling. It is. Not going to lie. One more time. Look at that, man. Just sailing through the sky, and he lands it. Lands it. Not a big deal. How you doing tonight? All right. We've also got, what else we got? This gator right here. Listen. This is in Florida, folks. This fella, he really, really needed it out of his environment. Watch this. That's for the bars. And look at the size of this gator. He literally ripped that open with his snout like it's nobody's business. The crazy part of this video is coming up because watch this. Some dude comes out of nowhere and tries to help the guy get through the middle fence that he just absolutely destroyed. Go on, you go, Phil, Roy, get your big old paw in there. Come on, you fat ant load. Jesus Christ, I can't believe the balls on some of these people out there in this life. What else we got? I got a couple. This one. This made me really laugh because, listen, I really have a problem with this asshole, and I don't like him because I think he's too pompous, but this really made me laugh. Watch Cristiano Ronaldo go off. He boots the ball into oblivion, and he got a yellow card for it. Look at you, that guy, Mr. Ponyboy. I gave Cristiano Ronaldo a yellow card for booting the ball like Ponyboy. Pretty funny. Watch this. So it's coming up to halftime. Boot. Watch this in slow-mo. Just look at his face. That was fuck you. How about fuck you? All right, one more before I get the hell out of here, and we're done for the night. Folks, you got to watch this closely. I wish I could share it in a better, larger screen, but I don't understand people these days. I don't know what gives them the right to go off in restaurants or markets or a store like this. But this bitch goes off, and Buddy from behind the counter, what? Ooh, something just crawled on me. That's what you get for doing a show outside live in San Juan del Sur. But watch this. This girl absolutely goes off. And then Buddy is like, you know what, bitch? Fuck you. Watch. Boom! I got to put the video. I don't even know if there's... So she's... Sign that guy up. That Nicaraguan pitcher who just got a contract, get this guy in the contract too, because look at the same. Boom! Nails her directly in the back of the head with a bottle of water or whatever it was. One more time. Watch this. Boom! That'll done teach you, won't it? Anyways, that was so awesome. Makes me laugh. It does. All right, folks. Listen, that's it. That's all. I can't thank Peter enough for joining me on the show tonight. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And, buddy, okay. Why don't you want to be the producer of the show? Listen, I got enough to do, okay? Why don't you watch on a big screen TV instead of yelling at me because the videos are so small because you're watching on your Ponyboy little Android phone or whatever it is, okay, Stone? Go make some more beer. Make the best beer that's called Bondzee Live, Trippin' with Bondzee, or whatever it is, because that shit is the bomb. And thanks for watching. And thanks to everybody else for watching. It's Bondzee Live, Trippin' with Bondzee. We are live in San Juan del Sur. I got to thank my sponsors before I get out of here because they do pay me the bills. You got to check out www.scramble clothing. That's Scramble with a K, folks, and make sure you hook up with some sick swag. They've got T-shirts, they've got hats, they've got short sleeve hoodies, long sleeve hoodies, light sleeve hoodies like that. You can be part of squad life, just like my boy there from California. It's a Scramble clothing. They've got amazing the female wear, the kids wear, the guys wear. He loves surfing and he loves golfing and loves going to the beach, and he put it all together. And he done started a clothing company, and you can go be really cool just as this guy is. It's called Scramble Clothing with a K. Get after it. And thank you very much. That's it. That's all. I got to get out of here. Huge thanks again to Peter. Go check him out. The Gloriious Sons, best band in Canada, hands down now. There's still a lot of great bands in Canada, but my favorite right now, my personal opinion, also Darling Congress and Teenage Kicks. Go check them out. That's it. That's all. We'll see you next week. We got Paul Langlois from the Tragically Hip coming on this show soon. I swear to God, not even a lie. It's going to happen. And we've also got from the huge hit show, Yukon Gold, we got my boy Guillaume Brodeur, as you all know. Listen, it's been a great lineup of guests around here lately, and this is what's still to come. Paul Langlois, Guillaume Brodeur. It's Bondzee Live, Trippin' with Bondzee. It's Wednesday night. You have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you soon. All right, adios, God bless, and peace and love. Bye.
What was that?
That was very strange.
It was very weird.
Peculiar.
It was kind of amusing.
Yes, it was rather funny.
It was incredibly funny.
I loved it.
Hilarious.
Wonderful.